been 3 weeks since Duluth City Council rejected a resolution calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Tonight, many community members showed up at City Hall to voice their displeasure with that vote. Last month, the council voted 5-4 against the ceasefire resolution as a majority of councilors wanted to focus on local issues. Well, tonight, a half-dozen community members addressed councilors during the public comment portion of the meeting, telling them they made a mistake.
The 5 members of this council that voted no looked us in the eyes and said, "Shame on us." They were unhinged in their indefensible position against peace.
Murder, war is insanity. It does not always just kill combatants. Civilians always die in war, sometimes on purpose and sometimes not on purpose.
In Minnesota, Minneapolis and St. Paul join other major cities across the country in passing ceasefire resolutions. Tonight, councilors plan to award a contract to Yulin Brothers from Carlton for handling the street repairs for the year ahead. However, they moved any decision on that $8.2 million project to the next council meeting.